what's up with Jikook? New evidence makes ARMY unable to stand still the issue of the closeness of Jimin and Jungkook, two BTS members who are often called Jikook by fans, is again a hot topic of discussion. Not only because of their interactions that have always looked warm since the trainee era, but also because of the new evidence that has recently emerged, making the ARMY around the world suddenly excited and unable to stand still. A video clip captured during military training shows a very intimate interaction between Jimin and Jungkook. In the video, Jimin approaches Jungkook after a strenuous training session, wipes the sweat from his face, and cheers him up with a small, sincere-looking smile. Jungkook responded with a gentle expression that is not usually shown in public, especially in a military atmosphere that is rigid and full of discipline. This video quickly spread on social media platforms such as X, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. ARMY began recompiling various similar interactions in the past, combining with evidence from old live streams, candid photos, to behind-the-scenes moments from various BTS documentaries. Interestingly, the ARMY are not just passive fans. They have an extraordinary sensitivity to body language, micro-expressions, to changes in the tone of voice of the BTS members. In analyzing Jikook's interactions, many said that Jungkook's expression when looking at Jimin was the gaze of someone who is loving in silence. Even some big fanbase accounts feature side-by-side comparisons between Jikook's moments in previous years and the current ones. The result? Their interactions actually seem to get closer and mature, no longer two friends, but two people who understand each other. Another surprising piece of evidence is a small note allegedly written by Jungkook during his early days in the military. In the letter, he wrote, "I'm grateful to have you here, Hyung. Sometimes silence can make me calm as long as you are by my side." Although not naming names, many soldiers were convinced that the Hyung in question was Jimin. The message was considered an expression of the deepest emotions that Jungkook rarely issued directly. Some fanbase analysts even say that Jungkook is not the type who easily expresses feelings, so if he writes something like that, it means that it has a very personal meaning. On the other hand, Jimin also made the ARMY suspicious when in an open interview session before enlistment, he said that the person he most thought about when night fell was someone who always looked at me with the most honest eyes. This remark immediately sparked speculation, especially because a few seconds after saying so, Jimin seemed to smile slightly while looking down, an expression that many interpret as a sign that he is saving something. I end this type of situation. It is common for the agency to issue clarifications if rumors begin to spread. But interestingly, until now, Big Hit has not given any comment on the issue of Jikook's proximity. This silence actually reinforces the suspicion of many fans that there is indeed something that does not want to be indulged, but it is also not officially refuted. Some ARMY argued that Big Hit respected the privacy of both. They believe that whether Jimin and Jungkook's relationship is an amazing friendship or something deeper, it is not a thing that should be explained to the public. As long as both are happy and support each other, then that's what matters. Although the military world demands firmness, discipline, and strict emotional boundaries, Jikook's story behind the barracks actually shows the most human side of the two idols who have been performing perfectly on stage. Jungkook and Jimin no longer talk with hugs on camera or jokes on variety shows, but with little things, gazes at dinner, silence together in exhaustion, and light gestures that only the two of them could understand. There is one little story that the ARMY is now talking about a lot. When Jungkook was slightly injured in intense physical training, Jimin reportedly moved his bed so that he could watch Jungkook more closely at night. There was no official statement, no post, but one source said he even woke her up slowly just to make sure Jungkook didn't have a fever. Interactions like this, which are so sincere but hidden, make Jikook's story feel more real than just a fan service moment. A few years ago, the ARMY saw a phase where Jimin and Jungkook seemed to interact less in public. The issue that the two moved away had developed even considered at odds. But time has shown that sometimes distance is not because of hate, but because of each other's maturation process. Now, as they face the challenges of enlistment together, the relationship grows in a calmer, more stable, and deeper way. In one of the diaries Jimin wrote for fan letter before enlistment, he said, "Sometimes life doesn't give us much time to look at each other, but if you see a person even when you're not looking for him, it means he's in your heart." Many felt this was aimed at Jungkook. That's the big question that often comes up. Will they one day talk honestly about their relationship? To be honest, it is unlikely in the near future. Not because they want to hide something, but because true bonds do not need validation from the public. Perhaps they will let us infer for ourselves from every look, quiet whisper, and small step they take side by side. In the end, what keeps Jikook's story alive is not gossip or rumors, but the growing trust between them and the army. The belief that whatever they live, whether as friends, relatives, or something more special, it is built on compassion and honesty. Jikook will probably never give us a definitive answer. But perhaps in each of their silent moments, in the gazes accidentally captured on camera, and in the whispers that only the heart can hear, we have all found the answer. And maybe that's more than enough. What sets Jikook apart from just a fan-favorite pairing is the depth that can't be engineered. Many say that their chemistry is not something that can be made up for the camera. Even in the harsh military environment and lack of privacy, their closeness is felt. A staff member who worked at one of the training centers said in an anonymous interview, it was like they knew each other before the others knew it. Jungkook could read Jimin's mood just from the sound of his breathing. That's why every whisper, a secretly dedicated song lyric, or a little habit like sharing a jacket when it's cold, becomes much more powerful evidence than just a verbal confession. The army that watches by heart knows that such a bond is not easy to explain, but it is very easy to feel. Although Jimin and Jungkook have never directly stated anything about their personal relationship, every little moment captured feels the most honest. When Jungkook smiles when Jimin laughs, or when Jimin looks at Jungkook with meaningful eyes, it's not just an ordinary interaction. It was a deeper gesture, one that could only be understood by those who watched with love. In the world of K-pop, where anything can be choreographed, Jikook is one of the few relationships that seems to flow so naturally. Even when they had to maintain image and privacy amid global fame, they never faked each other's comfort. Their relationship grew not on stage, but behind the scenes, in the silence of military barracks, in deserted rehearsal rooms, and on long, stressful journeys. And now, as time goes on, one thing is clear: whatever it takes. Jimin and Jungkook's togetherness is no illusion. It was a true story that grew in silence and lives in the hearts of millions of people who believe in the so-called miracle. Jikook, in the end, whether it's love in the form of true friendship or a more romantic relationship, no one can deny how special the closeness between Jimin and Jungkook is. They have gone through so many things together: debuts, world tours, hard times, until now facing the challenges of conscription. This new evidence may only reinforce what the army has been feeling: that Jikook is not just a duo created by fans, but two souls sincerely connected beyond words and perhaps even beyond time.